What's going on, guys? So today is the mock draft video. I don't know if it's going to be a final mock draft because there's still a month left and I probably shouldn't be releasing this now, but it's fun to speculate and there's no point in waiting, so why not just get it out there and see what happens. But I'm not a big mock draft guy because does it ever come true? Does anyone ever have a perfect mock draft? No. But as I said, it's fun to speculate and you might as well get it out there. But so last video I talked about if I should have a face cam in my videos from now on, and a lot of people responded, so thank you to whoever did. Not too many mean comments, by the way. A few in there. Some people thought I was African American. That was kind of funny, so sorry to disappoint. But yeah, 5'9" white kid. Sorry. But anyway, so most of you said that I should do whatever makes the best content and what I'm comfortable with doing. I think it'll change video by video, to be honest with you. I think for a video like this, it'll be mostly visuals and highlights, because obviously there's a lot of visuals and highlights to show, a lot of college prospects to show, whole mock draft board to show, stuff like that. So for this particular video, not going to see a lot of me. This is just the intro. But for future videos and reactions and stuff like that, probably going to be more of a face cam type of thing. But for a video like this will be more of a visual and highlight video. So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to you guys for responding and all the honesty. Some of you were very nice in the comments. I appreciate all that. So with all that being said, let's get into the mock draft. Alright, so here we are at number 6, and right now I am under the presumption that Kyler Murray's gone, Nick Bosa's gone, Josh Allen's gone, Quentin Williams is gone, and for some reason I think Devin White's going to go to the Buccaneers at number 5. I don't know why. I mean, they lost Quan Alexander. It makes sense, but for some reason I just have a hunch that Devin White will be a Buccaneer. So that's what I'm going off of right now. And with the 6th pick overall, a lot of people want, I don't even know if a lot of people want him anymore. I mean, Dwayne Haskins, that talk has kind of died down recently. A lot of people want a quarterback at 6. But right now, I think from what I've seen from this guy, and especially from what I've seen recently, I'm going to have to go with Ed Oliver, the defensive tackle from Houston. I mean, he is an incredible player. He's 6'2", 287 pounds. The guy gets doubled and triple teamed almost every play, still makes a big impact on the field. I made a highlight video of him, I think a week ago. I watched a lot of his film and I was like, damn, this guy is incredible. Always in the backfield, very disruptive. At the combine, had 32 bench reps, 36-inch vertical, 4.7 40 time, which is unofficial. It wasn't timed at the combine. His shuttle run is better than Saquon Barkley. Let that one sink in a little bit. Better than Saquon Barkley. Just very disruptive, makes quarterbacks uncomfortable, and he's a run stopper. I mean, this guy could do it all. You could literally put him at linebacker if you wanted to. Some GMs have speculated that. I wouldn't want to draft him for that particular reason, but look, you have Ed Oliver. The Giants need defensive talent. We've all said that. We all know it, and I think that pick makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I think a pick like that is a safe pick. Dave Gettleman is more of a safe pick kind of guy from what I've noticed with him drafting in the first round. I mean, he doesn't want to get his picks wrong, obviously. He believes that a wrong pick can set you back 3 to 5 years, and that makes sense. So this is a pick they have to get right. And why not get a guy who just compares to Aaron Donald? I mean, people compare Quentin Williams to Aaron Donald, but I think Ed Oliver's right there too. Quentin Williams was on the better team, so I mean, he's going to get more attention, obviously. But when you watch those guys play, I think Ed Oliver is probably the more disruptive player, honestly. I mean, we're all entitled to our own opinion on stuff like that. I just think Ed Oliver is, one of the best defensive players in this draft, obviously, and I would have no problem taking him at 6 overall because I really do think he could be a difference maker on a defense that needs difference makers, a guy who can get to the quarterback, disrupt the quarterback, stuff like that. I think, there's no perfect pick at number 6. There's a lot of ways the Giants can go about it. I wouldn't be mad if they took a lot of people, except Daniel Jones. But anyway, so I think they can go a lot of directions here at number 6, but personally, I want to say Ed Oliver would be my pick at number 6. Number 17 overall. I was truly torn on this pick. We're all going to get an argument about who we should take here. Everyone's going to say there's the Cleveland Farrell group. There's I guess there's a Daniel Jones group, maybe? I don't know. Drew Lock group. I'm a Drew Lock fan. I can go with that. Basically, what I'm saying is we're not going to agree on this pick. What I'm saying is Dave Gettleman is not leaving the first round without a right tackle. That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I think is going to happen here. I think they go defensive player with the first pick unless it's Jawan Taylor who's a right tackle, but I do think they're ultimately going to go defender with the first pick. Second pick in the first round, I think it's going to be a right tackle. I was so torn between Cody Ford and Jonah Williams, and at first I had Cody Ford, and then I said, you know what? Jonah Williams is the safer pick. For some reason, Cody Ford just looks like a guard to me. I mean, he could be guard slash tackle, but he just does look like a guard to me. It just, it doesn't make sense. It's just a weird way I look at it. But I do think Jonah Williams overall is the best tackle in this draft in terms of technique. I'm not saying he's the best overall. I do think Jawan Taylor's the best. But in terms of technique, I do think Jonah Williams is the best. I think he is the safer pick. Obviously, the Giants should go the safe route after what happened when they drafted another left tackle in the first round 5 years ago. Yeah. You guys know what I'm talking about. So, Jonah he's the safest prospect, really. He's 6'4", 300 pounds. Technique is just beautiful. The only knock on this guy, and I think the only thing that's keeping him from being a top, 10 pick guaranteed, is he has short arms. He has like the T-Rex arms. Not really. He probably has longer arms than all of us, but still, for NFL freakishly athletic people, he has shorter arms. But it doesn't really affect him in many ways. Even guys with longer arms, when he goes against them, it's not like he's losing the battle to them or anything. He still has amazing technique, knows how to stay in front of his guy. Really good with his feet as well. So I do think Jonah Williams is the safest pick. And then when you make this pick, your line is solidified. You have Nate Solder, Will Hernandez, John Halapio / Spencer Pulley, Kevin Zeitler at right guard, and then Jonah Williams at right tackle. I mean, there's no more offensive line excuses once this pick is made. I'm done. That's it. No more Eli Manning excuses once that pick is made. No more Odell excuses either. So, I'm excited to get a good right tackle in here. I really am. A right tackle who, Jonah Williams is really young. He's a true junior, I believe, so he's probably 20, 21 years old. So he's a guy who's going to come in here and just get better and better. Already has beautiful technique. I wish he was a little meaner and finish his blocks and put guys into the ground, but maybe he'll develop that over time. I don't know. But, this guy's a safe pick. I'm fine with taking him in the second pick in the first round. A lot of you are going to want a defensive player, but I do. Believe me, I do want a defensive player here, thinking of how incredible our defense might be if we do get 2 first-round defenders. But then I'm also thinking, who the hell is going to play right tackle next year? I want a safe option. I want a guy who's actually going to be good at right tackle. I'm not putting Chad Wheeler back there. Hell no. So, Jonah Williams, good pick for me. I can go Cody Ford. There's a few guys I like. I'm a fan of Andre Dillard and Dalton Reisner. There's a few guys I like. It's not like it just has to be Jonah Williams or Cody Ford. There's a few other guys I'm a fan of. So, I don't know. I just do think they're going to take a right tackle with 17th pick. I could be wrong, but we'll see what happens in a month. So that's where I'm going. Jonah Williams, 17 overall. All right, so the first round recap: Ed Oliver, Jonah Williams. We already got him. Second round. If you know me well enough, you probably know where I'm going with this. Trade number 37 overall to the Cardinals for quarterback Josh Rosen. So some of you do not like Josh Rosen. Some of you were very, ticked off when I said I wanted him. If it came down to us having to give up the number 17 overall pick for him, I said that's something I would do. A lot of you did not like that at all. Personally, I think he is the second best quarterback if he was in this class. I mean, the people who want to take Haskins at 6 seem to have a problem with taking Josh Rosen for number 17. That doesn't make much sense to me because I do think Rosen and Haskins are equal at best. I do think Rosen's a little better than Haskins, but that's just our own opinions, and that's it. So anyway, I would trade number 37 for Josh Rosen if he is available. The Cardinals had this BS rumor today that they would be fine having Kyler Murray and Josh Rosen on the roster at the same time. That is not happening. Calling your bluff 100%. I don't see that happening. For those who hate Rosen, you got to understand, the whole scheme was garbage, right? Every coach got fired that was there last year, pretty much. The first-year head coach got fired. Rosen is he's a guy who's under pressure. When he's under pressure, he's still cool. He doesn't just fall down like the current quarterback of the Giants. I'm probably going to get hate for that one. But, Eli does fall a lot nowadays, let's be honest. But Josh Rosen stands in there and makes the throws like prime Eli used to do. His precision is insane. He makes some really, really accurate passes when he's given time. He had the worst rated O-line in the NFL last year, according to PFF, and some of you think PFF's a bunch of hogwash, as Dave Gettleman would say. The Giants were ranked number 21 by PFF offensive line grades last year, so think about 32nd overall compared to the 21st overall. You add two new offensive linemen, which would be Zeitler and Jonah Williams, and then all of a sudden Josh Rosen would have a much better offensive line and time to make his precision throws. So that's kind of why I think it makes sense. The value you would get for a quarterback like Rosen for number 37 overall is ridiculous. I think Josh Rosen's worth way more than the second round pick. But if that's what you can get him for, I'm not complaining. That's what I want. So I'm not concerned because it hasn't happened yet. Someone said in the last video and commented, like, I guess it's not going to happen now because, it hasn't happened in the last week or so. I think the Cardinals are just holding out hope that a team will give them a first-round pick. I don't think it's going to happen, but maybe it does, but I really don't think it will. I think they're going to wait till draft night, and I said I think on the night of April 25th, which is when the first round of the draft is, I think Josh Rosen will be traded to the Giants. Maybe April 26th, I don't know. My birthday is actually April 28th, so that would be a perfect birthday gift if we can get Josh Rosen for a second-round pick. I would love that. Take that any day of the week. So yeah, you guys know my stance on Rosen. I'm not going to go into that too much, but I do think a second-round pick for him is an absolute steal, and that's something that we should all be on board of doing. But as I said, we're all entitled to our own opinions. I hope that you guys do more than just look at Rosen's stats and his team's record and actually watch this guy play games, because that would be an unfair evaluation. And I've watched pretty much every throw of him last year, so I do like what I see. A lot of potential with this guy, and I do think he's going to be a good quarterback still in the NFL. So with the last piece of the Odell Beckham trade, which would be the third-round pick from the Browns at the end of the third round, 95 overall, the Giants had a meeting with this guy, Ben Banogu, a defensive end, outside linebacker from TCU. I don't know if he's going to fall this late. I hope he does. Third round seems reasonable. But, as I said, the Giants had a meeting with him, so you already know there's some kind of interest there. He's a pass rusher. He's athletic. He's the type of guy the Giants should go after. I don't say would, but should go after. He's 6'3", 250 pounds, had a 4.6 40. Not bad for a guy that big. That's very impressive. Next Gen Stats had him rated in terms of edge rushers with names like Josh Allen, Nick Bosa, Montez Sweat, and Brian Burns. A lot of people like Brian Burns. A lot of Giants fans like him, from what I've noticed on Twitter and even the comments here. He's a very athletic player, as I said, and he had 60 total pressures in 2018, so very impressive. It's kind of disappointing that, I didn't go edge rusher in the first round. I just think Ed Oliver is too good of a player to pass up, and I think the Giants have to take a right tackle in the first round. So having a guy like Banogu fall to you in the third round, though, not bad at all. That's a great value. As I said, I'm not sure if he'll be there, but that's kind of the problem I have with mock drafts. You're just speculating and hoping, but I think that'd be a terrific pick if they can make it. The Giants do have interest, and I think if he was on the Giants, they would try to make him an outside linebacker. That's a situation with a lot of college prospects in that situation. They played defensive end in college in a 4-3, but then, if he gets drafted to a 3-4 team like the Giants, they have to put him at outside linebacker, where Olivier Vernon played last year. But it's something he's definitely capable of doing. The guy is, a 4.6 40 time athlete, so he can adjust. He can make it work. There's another guy I'm drafting later, by the way, who had the same situation where he was, I think, a 4-3 defensive end, but he's probably going to be converted into a linebacker. Even GMs are saying that, so I'm not just making that stuff up. I think they're actually going to try and convert these guys to linebacker, so that pick could work. So 95 overall, Ben Banogu. That's what I'm going to get tongue twisted a lot. Ben Banogu, defensive end, outside linebacker. So that's my third round pick. On to the fourth round, pick 108. I have the Giants improving their secondary, taking Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who is a cornerback from Florida. He's an interesting player. I don't know if he's going to last this long as well, but, I'm going to say that about everybody because we don't know. He only allowed 25 completions last year and 335 coverage snaps. That's not bad. Great tackler. That's what I've noticed on tape. I watched a few games of his. He's an awesome tackler, and we need that. We really need that in the secondary, especially because of what we've seen in recent years with Curtis Riley and B.W. Webb missing tackles left and right. Gardner-Johnson has really good technique when he tackles. He's really good in the open field. And, when you see him in one-on-one situations with a speedy receiver. He really doesn't miss his tackles all that much, so he knows how to wrap up and get guys to the ground, which is huge. He's 5'10", 210, ran a 4.48 40, and has a 36-inch vertical, so not bad, pretty athletic guy. And the Giants, they do need a third corner unless they really count on Grant Haley being the guy. Right now they have Janoris Jenkins, Sam Beal, and Grant Haley. A couple other guys I'm forgetting. I don't even know. They're probably not too important. But, having a guy like Gardner-Johnson and adding him to your secondary, it can't hurt. And I do think the Giants will draft somebody in the secondary, whether it's another safety or hopefully a cornerback. There are some interesting safeties out there as well, but I think Gardner-Johnson fits the Giants well because of his tackling ability. He's also pretty good in coverage. So, I don't know I don't know what his ceiling is as a player. I think he can end up being a pretty good cornerback, maybe maybe a top 30, 40 corner in the NFL, which is not bad for fourth round value, but we'll take it. And that's where I'm going with this fourth round pick. So Chauncey Gardner-Johnson out of Florida. So also in the fourth round, this is 132 overall. I had this guy in my last mock draft. I didn't put as much research into that one, but I had him in there anyway because I liked him when I watched him. Oshane Ximines, the guy with the OX initials. He had 52 total pressures in 2018. Some GMs want him at outside linebacker, but he can play defensive end as well because I think he did play that in college. He can go either or. That's the prospect I was talking about before with the Banogu pick. He ran a 4.78 40 time, 34-inch vertical, so that's all good stuff. 6'3", 253 pounds. And another thing, Gettleman likes to have good locker room guys and guys that can cooperate. And a note from NFL.com on Ximines is that he likes being coached and he's a student of the game. So, that's always what you want to hear, a guy that wants to be coached and, wants to keep learning. I like what I saw on tape from him. He's an athletic player. He's usually in the backfield a lot, has decent moves as a pass rusher. So I don't think, I don't know if he'll be available this late. That's kind of wishful thinking. He's supposed to go between rounds 2 and 4. This is technically the 4th round, so I hope he's still there. But we'll see what happens on draft night. I'm gonna be looking for his name and see where he goes because I am interested in him as a prospect. I do hope he ends up as a Giant, and I think he'd be another great pass rusher to add to this team because the Giants do need pass rushers. We all know that. So I think adding him and Banogu would be a nice little combination of linebackers, outside linebackers, and defensive ends, guys that can get to the quarterback. And the Giants have emphasized that. Pat Shurmur talked about it in one of his press conferences as well. So the Giants are going to be looking for those guys. And I think Ximines can be one of those sleeper type guys. Well, I don't want to say sleeper, but one of those low-key type of guys that can go in the middle rounds and make a big impact on your football team. So hopefully the Giants, do their homework on him and give him a fair shot because I do think he's going to be a pretty decent pro to whatever team he goes to. So now on to the 5th round, and a lot of people speculated the Giants might go receiver in this draft. I hope they do, and this is where I have them taking a receiver. I personally am in love with Hakeem Butler. I think he's going to be an amazing player. There's no way in hell he falls this late. I don't want to use a high pick on a receiver, but having him on this team would be incredible. But I do think there are other needs that this team, needs more than wide receiver. So I waited till round 5. Decided to go with DaMarkus Lodge, who is a wide receiver from Ole Miss. He played behind DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown, so didn't get that much attention. He's 6'2", 202 pounds. He's a really good receiver for the 50-50 balls. Eli Manning likes his bigger receivers. 6'2" isn't gigantic, but, compared to the other receivers on the Giants right now, it's pretty big because Golden Tate's probably 5'9", 5'10". He's not that tall. Sterling Shepard's probably 6 foot, if I had to guess. Cody Latimer's pretty big, but as I always say, Cody Latimer, you can't rely on that guy to play 16 games. It just doesn't happen when you look at his career. The thing with Lodge, and it's a concern, are his hands are not very consistent, does drop a lot of balls at times. But, when you look at his upside, he's a pretty damn good athlete, and, he could be a good receiver in this league. I think he could have been more productive in college if he didn't have to, play with those other two receivers that I mentioned before. So, I mean, he's kind of like one of those guys that is going to be overlooked by a lot of teams, I would think, but he might be worth taking a shot on. He was with some really good teammates, so I do think there was room for production there. If you look at him on tape, he's a terrific athlete, though, so I think he can be a nice receiver in the NFL. I don't know what he's going to be, but I think there are some good receiver options late. So I'm not saying it has to be DaMarkus Lodge. He's just someone that caught my eye personally, and that's someone I think is reasonable for a 5th-round pick and someone that might actually be there. So, we'll see what happens and see where he goes as well. But I wouldn't be mad if the Giants took a receiver in the middle rounds. I think it's something that's going to happen, and I do think they go running back as well. So I do address that later in the draft. But for now, I want to get the defenders out of the way and get right tackle solved, and wide receiver and running back later. So here's wide receiver, DaMarkus Lodge, wide receiver, Ole Miss. That's my 5th-round, 142 overall pick. So believe it or not, the Giants do have the very next pick. Last pick was 142. The Giants own 143 as well in the 5th round. And I had this player in my last video as well. He's another guy who caught my eye. Sheldrick Redwine, a safety that was a converted. He was a cornerback, converted safety. That's hard to get out. Played for Miami, 6 foot, 195 pounds, ran a 4.4440. That's a lot of fours, but I think I nailed that one. So, as I said, switched from corner to safety in 2017, still put up really good numbers. He's aggressive, has really good ball skills, but he's inconsistent in coverage. That's pretty much the only knock on him. He could be used as a versatile player in special teams as well. So, I mean, he's really a guy that I like watching on tape. I think he could be a pretty good NFL player. Not saying he's going to be a star or anything, but I think there's a role for him in the NFL, whether it's special teams or as a backup. I do think in situations where you would let's say Jabril Peppers or Antoine Bethea goes down, I think he's a guy who can fill in and definitely hold his own. I don't think he's going to be anything outstanding, but he's a guy who can grow. Obviously, I think there's some upside to him, but having depth at that position in the secondary, he's a guy who can play corner and safety, as I said before. So he does have experience with both positions. I do think the Giants should address the secondary, though. I said that before as well. I really do. I think there needs to be, especially with the Sam Beal injury, and Grant Haley's a smaller guy as well. Antoine Bethea is like 35 years old, so you kind of have to anticipate that not everyone's going to make it through 16 games. And having a guy like Redwine that can play corner and safety, I think, is a very nice thing to have. So, I mean, I'm not sure if I'm going to get him exactly, but I do hope they take a couple guys for their secondary. It's just, when I watch Redwine, I think he's a pretty good prospect. So I'd be completely fine with him in the 5th round if he's indeed there at 143 overall. With our last pick of the 5th round, which is 171 overall, they got 3 5th-round picks, not bad. So 171 overall, I'm going to go with Daylon Mack, who is a defensive tackle. 6'1", 335 pounds, did 30 bench reps. That's pretty damn good. He's talented, great push at the line of scrimmage, and a great body for defensive tackle. He's got the wide body type that you're looking for in a defensive tackle. I think he's falling, well, not I think, but a lot of people are saying, and from what I read, he's going to fall in the draft because of work ethic concerns and his poor conditioning. He's a guy that will get tired pretty quickly. But when he's out there and he's energetic and he's into the game, he's a pretty good player. I mean, he's a pretty big impact player. As I said, his explosiveness is incredible for a big guy. It's kind of a low risk, high reward type of thing when you're in the later 5th round, but he's a guy that can definitely get off the line real quick, and he's always one of the first ones in the backfield. So I was impressed with what I saw from him on tape, and I do think that there's a lot of talent there, and it would be worth taking. Obviously, I did take a defensive tackle before, Ed Oliver, but you can never have too much depth on defense. That's what I'm trying to get at, really. The Giants do have R.J. McIntosh as well, who plays a similar role. So those two will battle out for second-string duties at defensive tackles. So I think adding another talented body to the defensive line cannot hurt. And from guys that are probably going to be left at this point, he's a guy that I saw, and as I said, he just jumped out at me. He was pretty explosive for a guy that big, so I was impressed. The work ethic stuff does concern me, obviously, but it's something that can be coached out of someone. Laziness is something that people choose sometimes, so hopefully once he goes to the NFL, he'll start taking his career a little bit more serious and his conditioning as well. So I do think that there's room to grow and a pretty high ceiling for a player like him. So I think in the 5th round it'd be worth taking him. So that's why I did it. So obviously the Giants do have 2 7th-round picks in this draft, but I figured why should I even bother trying to guess who they're going to take in the 7th round. So I did a 6th-round pick, which is my last pick. I went with Qadree Ollison, who is a running back from Pitt. Mostly I'm doing this because I just think the Giants need to kind of, I don't want to say limit, but have some kind of plan to take away unnecessary reps from Saquon Barkley. Obviously, Barkley is the most talented running back in football right now. Running backs' lifespans in the NFL do not last too long, and I don't want to be concerned about it when Barkley's only 22, 23 years old. But at the same time, I mean, he's gonna be given the ball a ton this year, and I think drafting a big back like Ollison can kind of take away some of the unnecessary wear and tear that he might go through at this point in his career. They can use him as a goal line back, short yardage back, and take away those big hits from Barkley. So, I mean, Ollison is a bruiser. He has underrated quickness. He breaks arm tackles. He breaks a lot of tackles, this guy. You can watch his tape. He's a pretty impressive player. He's had a weird career in college, a really weird career. Had a nice freshman year. The next 2 years fell off, and then in 2018, which was last year, it went for 6.3 yards per carry and 743 yards after contact. So that's insane. I hope that's really who he is, not the sophomore and junior version. But, I don't know which running back the Giants are going to take in this draft, if they take one at all, but I do think they're going to take one to try and limit Saquon's workload. They do have Wayne Gallman as well. Paul Perkins is still on the team, believe it or not. So I think taking a bruising running back would be a good move, and a goal line running back, and this would create a bunch of nonsense for fantasy football purposes because we don't want guys vulturing the touchdowns. But if you're looking at it from the Giants' perspective, I think having a goal line back to take away the big hits and the unnecessary hits from Barkley makes a lot of sense. And Ollison's a good short yardage guy, so you just can't go wrong with it, really. So that's why I want the Giants to take a big running back later in the rounds. So just to give you guys a perspective of where I'll be at with this team, I made a depth charts for this team, updated after the draft. So pretty much we added Josh Rosen, Qadree Ollison, DaMarkus Lodge, Jonah Williams, and this offense looks not bad at all. Honestly, I think it's all right. I mean, it's all right. I could deal with this. I mean, it looks a lot better with Odell Beckham Jr. But we as Giant fans have to get over it. It happened. It's over. The Giants have a pretty damn good right guard now, so that's always good. The Giants' right side of the line is going to be pretty damn good if they have Zeitler and Jonah Williams. That's not going to be a need for concern at all. I do like their line a lot. I really do. If they make a Williams pick or a Cody Ford pick or something like that. Their receivers, I mean, they do have some talented guys there. I do love Golden Tate. Sterling Shepard, I mean, hopefully he can play outside and be effective, and I expect a lot from Evan Engram as well, and Josh Rosen might take over at the bye week next year, depending on how the season's going. So, that'll be interesting to see how the quarterback thing will go if they do indeed trade for Rosen. Obviously, you guys know how I feel about Eli Manning and Josh Rosen at this moment, so I'm not going to go into that. So let's go to the defensive side of the ball. So when you look at the defense, there's a lot of different names we have here. Obviously, Ed Oliver, the first round pick for us. We have Mack at the defensive line as well. RJ McIntosh is there. He didn't play a lot last year. You add Banogu and Ximines to the linebacking core. They do have some pretty good linebackers on this team, so I don't know if they'll start day one, but they'll have a shot to play for sure at some point in the season. Cornerbacks, you add Sam Beal, who hopefully is healthy this year. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson would be our third guy, probably a slot corner. And then in safety, you add Sheldrick Redwine. So, I mean, the Giants' defense is much improved with this draft. I don't think it'll be a top 10 defense, but I do think it has the potential to be somewhere between 10 and 20 in the league. I think it's a pretty average defense, but it could be good, depending on how these rookies are and depending on how Ed Oliver plays, if he's the real deal or not, and see if he just comes out the gates and ends up being one of the most dominant defensive players in football. So it's something I think he could do. But there's a lot of room for these guys to grow. This is a young defense. I mean, aside from Ogletree and aside from Bethea, and Janoris Jenkins, it's a pretty young defense. So I expect these guys to just keep growing and get better. And I'd be excited if this was our defense next year. But I think this could be an average defense, as I said. So that's what I gotta say for that. If you made it this far in the video, congratulations. This is about a half hour now. I hope you guys enjoyed this mock draft. Give me some prospects in the comments that you guys are intrigued with, and guys that you want to see go to the Giants in like the later rounds. Some sleeper picks that you have, and guys that I should probably watch out for. I'm always interested in that stuff. But yeah, if you made it this far, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you guys next time.